Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Yes. It's nice to have you in studio.
Yeah. It's refreshing, Yeah, it's refreshing. I think this is my third time, but this is my second time here speaking.
Okay.
But I've been here. This is the third time.
Okay.
First, I came with solo, but he spoke. I didn't speak.
Yeah.
I came for a program. Yeah. By then, the producer for that program has been calling me, except that time.
Yeah, it keeps crashing with that.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but it's refreshing, Almighty Radio God to be here as we speaking. So I'm glad to be here this morning. It's always a pleasure.
It's nice to have you in studio, and of course, BUCKMAN is the United Party, UP Plus. Last year, you mentioned his name. Solo kept telling me that you were working on the final certificate.
Yeah. So we are still on it.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to satisfy some conditions.
Okay.
And we are working on it.
Okay.
Yeah, so that you can be contesting. Even if there should be by-elections,
you can easily
yes.
And contest all those.
Yeah. So we are working on it. Okay. Seriously, yeah.
Anyway, let me start from the point of, and I'm sure you heard the news about Mr. Ofori Atta.
Yes, I heard it last night.
This one has to do with immigration.
Yes.
What do you think?
You see, I mean, this news aside, but let's look at something about Mr. Ofori Atta and why we need him in this country.
Okay.
You see, we had a man who was fully in control of our finances.
Okay.
He could do anything. He could collapse banks.
Okay.
And he collapsed banks.
Yes, he did.
He ran down institutions like NIB with the intention to buy it, except that NIB didn't die. He took over the work of SIC with his enterprise insurance.
Okay.
To the point that if you are a Ghanaian contractor and need insurance guarantee, it has to come from enterprise insurance. If you are a public institution and needed a loan from ADB or any of the government banks, you needed enterprise insurance to guarantee the loan for you. I remember the Nakomia publicly said at a point he wanted a loan from ADB.
Okay.
And when he went there, he was told he needed to bring enterprise insurance as their guarantor before the loan could be given to them.
Okay.
So the man was so powerful, he virtually took over our finances and did what he deemed fit.
Okay.
Apart from that, his name has been mentioned in relation to some criminal activities. So we are dealing with a man who has done a great damage to this country as a finance minister, who happened to be the brother of the former president. Come and answer questions. Accountability is the cornerstone of our democracy. So come and answer questions in respect of what was given to you to do. For the first time in the history of our country, our former finance minister has run away.
Has run away?
Has run away. In fact, I was telling people that the man was running away, but he couldn't have written in the letter that I'm running away. So he needed to write, I'm going for medical checkup.
Medical attention. He said he has a serious medical condition. It'll take time to treat.
Yeah, but you see, when he was, if you studied him, at a point he was not feeling well as a finance minister. And people, even MPP, some of the MPP people rose up and said, no, this man should, because of on hard grounds, this man should be changed.
In fact, they had to delay vetting.
Yes, the man insisted. Because because it
involves money.
Because he was in charge of money, he stayed. So the same way you stayed when you were managing, the same way, come and answer questions. Even if you see in future, even if it's in wheelchair, he should be brought back to Ghana to come and answer questions. So it is important. Because do you know what? If you succeed in bringing him down, it will serve as a deterrent to those who intend to also plunder the states.
Okay.
It means you can't run away. You can run, but you can't hide. You will be brought back. But if you fail, what it means is that it's going to embolden people to engage in corruption and run away after that. So we don't have to fail in this fight. It's a very important fight.
It must be brought down.
It must be brought down. It must be brought down. And I don't know why we have not even, if you like, seized of, we have not frozen some of his assets yet. I don't know why. If the man has questions to answer and is run away, freeze his assets. He's got a lot of assets. The more we delay, he can easily transfer ownership of his assets to someone else. So I think we should move fast. If indeed we believe, and I believe he's got a lot of questions to answer, then there's no point delaying. Let's bring him down. And ICE, you see, American government, you have gone to another country to arrest a whole president. A whole president of a state said the president has questions to answer. So you've gone to another country, another sovereign country. You've brought the president into your country to come and answer questions. Our finance minister, who is lower than the president, president of a country, has also run into your country after engaging in a lot of issues, corruption and corruption-related issues. Bring him down is a problem. Now you have to go through all the legal process. When he went to, why didn't you also allow the Venezuelans to also go through legal process to bring their president? You forcibly brought the man into your country. So bring the man to us. Bring the man, Ofori Atta. He's got a lot of questions to answer, to come and answer those questions. So, yes, that's the point I want to make. But on the issue of ICE, I think it has to do with his documentation, papers and all that. Yes, I pray that they don't extend his stay in America.
Because obviously, reading the statement of the lawyers, that is what he's been trying to do.
Yeah. I think they by now they know. Because officially we've written to them in respect of the extradition. So they know that we want him in this country. So they shouldn't extend it. So they should help us. Because if the cornerstone of our democracy is accountability, and America claims they believe in accountability, that is why they've gone to bring a whole president to come and answer questions. They should bring our man to also come and answer questions in our country.
I see. Do you agree? Does Ofori Atta have questions to answer? Because, of course, there's the special prosecutor angle. But personally, do you think he has questions to answer?
Good morning to
Good morning. And a happy new year to you.
Many happy returns. First time meeting.
First time.
All right. Well, I mean, we are making a fuss about this issue of having a question to answer. It's not a big deal. I don't think that for a finance minister, if there is anything untoward that had occurred under your administration, I think it is even better for you to just offer to come down and give the basis for it. Sometimes we may misunderstood some of the things that occurred under you, and therefore I think the posturing has made it look like, he's already a criminal. No, he's not a criminal. And it seems he's also seeing himself as a criminal already. I don't know what he knows. I mean,
he who feels it knows it. Now you think he's posturing?
If you could remember some of these deals in terms of SML and all that, we spoke about it.
Yeah.
I felt it was untoward that Commissioner General retires and then becomes basically a consultant for government in the manner in which it was done. There is no big deal. I mean, giving them some form of responsibility within our revenue administration because of the experience they do have and all that. But in the nature in which it was done and some of the happenings around the issues when really they did not have the capacity to perform that task, yet it was given and all that, and many other things. I mean, if we would have to go through it, many other things have occurred under their administration. And I think as a finance minister, he owes a lot to this nation. I mean, to offer that explanation to the people of Ghana. Probably we do not really understand some of the things that happened under him. He could bring a lot of clarity to us. And so I think this was a gentleman who's at a point had to go to the Public Accounts Committee and state his position whether we agree or disagree, he went in there and stated his position.
Yeah.
I don't
I
see.
think that was when he was being censured or something.
Yes.
There was a censure attempt by the then NDC man.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it is in the same, form and structure. And I think that he should take advantage of it and, repair the image created around him. I think it's good for him, and it will be a lot good for the MPP. Because, you see, it is not a Ken Ofori thing. It is the MPP.
Okay. This is about the MPP.
This is about the MPP. I did not choose Ken Ofori to be a finance minister, right? It was a government of the MPP, a government formed by the MPP that said that you are the best person to handle the finances of this nation, and therefore let us not also center it so much on in fact, if you claim he's running away, it is the MPP that is running away. And
if
so
he's running away,
it's the MPP that is running away. And so if the MPP runs away, I wonder how they could come back and say they are contesting general elections in this country.
But it was one minister.
No, it is not. It's a cabinet. It was a whole cabinet managing the finances of this country. Let us not limit it to just Ken Ofori. No. Everything he did had the sanctioning of cabinet.
Yes, particularly the president.
Yeah.
Yes. I will not say, you see, when you limit it to the president, it looks like a man and his brother. This is a whole government, right? If the man is running away, a whole cabinet is running away, former cabinet is running away, and a whole government formed by the MPP is running away. He represents the government formed by the MPP. End of story.
So you're saying it is in the interest of the MPP that he turns
It is in the utmost interest of the MPP to turn up. It is, we've seen in this country where people have been put forward, have been tried in court, and even jailed. Similar finance ministers, right? It was their actions, right? How am I supposed to know? It is the action of Ken Ofori that brought us those issues.
Okay.
Or it was the carelessness of somebody else sitting somewhere.
Okay.
And that is why they need to make sure that he is available to answer some of the questions, to exonerate the MPP. If not, I won't put it on Ken Ofori. I'm putting it squarely on the head of the MPP.
Because he was their choice.
Yes.
He was their government.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm on record to have said it, and I want to repeat it here. And I mean, because of what Don said, so long as the man remains abroad, the MPP must remain in opposition.
Yeah. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So long as he remains
abroad, yeah, the MPP should be in opposition. And that does not also mean that if he comes, the MPP must come back to power.
Okay.
So because the man represents, he represents MPP. A finance minister, the man was so powerful. At a point, from some of the information we had, the man was so powerful. He was the second man in charge. He was so powerful. And so he represents MPP. So I agree with Don that MPP has run away. And once the man remains abroad, MPP should remain in opposition. This is simplicity. It shouldn't be a problem for Ghanaians at all. That is why MPP should be the one to lead this crusade or campaign of bringing confederation. Yeah.
I see. Very interesting views on that matter, because we are now finding out that he's actually in detention because he's being held by U.S. immigration authorities. He has overstayed his visa. His lawyers say he's been trying to adjust his stay in the U.S. because we heard earlier that he was actually planning to have either permanent residence status in the U.S. He was working on that. So now the lawyers have, with that statement, confirmed to us that that was something they were working on. Question is whether so which means that personally he's not interested in coming back to answer any questions on what the lawyers are saying. Anyway, but let's then stay on the matter, because we mentioned the finance minister, the matter of the economy. Now, there's a post that I've been referring to this morning. I think his name is PK Sapon or something. I don't know him, but he seems to be a very popular MPP activist on Facebook.
Yeah.
He says the government is running on luck. But so far, everything we've seen in terms of the performance of the government is because of purely based on luck. And I started with you. Do you think about that it is luck?
Senna, let this government waste $97 million to dig a hole. Let this government engage in excessive borrowing, needless borrowing. Let this government spend close to $4 billion on NAPCO, unproductive investments, and see what will happen to today's economy. If this government had engaged in excessive borrowing, in discipline, in respect of expenditure management and control, if this government had wasted $97 million, so now we are not talking about cities, so $97 million to dig the biggest hole in Africa, or the most expensive hole, do you think this economy would have been where it is now? So we're not talking about luck here. We're talking about management.
Okay.
Somebody had opportunity to manage this country. And I've always said that if you look at the performance of this government as a standalone performance, you won't see the picture clear.
Okay.
If you want to see the picture clear, every picture is when we are taking a picture, don't you look for a background.
Yes.
So to get a picture clear,
okay.
you need to look at the background history.
Okay.
What happened before this government took over? And that is what will give you the clear picture. Whether it's a lack or conscious management has taken place.
Okay.
And if you look at the background, where we have come from in respect of the economy, in every economy, if you want to determine the health of an economy, there are indicators. If you can tick the boxes, you can know whether the economy is healthy economy or unhealthy economy. Okay. Obviously, to have an economy of inflation 23.8%, you can't say the economy is healthy.
Okay.
To have exchange rate, which was hovering around 15-16%, at the time this government took over, you can't say it was healthy economy. Okay. To have interest rates hovering around 35 to 40%, okay. I mean lending rates, okay. It doesn't make sense. And look at even the TB rates and how the private sector was carried out. So certainly, in terms of the economy, the MPP mismanaged the economy. I'll give you some of the reasons for wasteful expenditure and discipline in terms of expenditure. I've also mentioned the fact that we didn't put money where we were supposed to put the money. And a typical example, and let me go back to this NAPCO issue. You see, to have money or to borrow money for consumption is the worst thing any government would do. Okay. You have to generate internally for consumption and even for production. But once you borrow money, you don't attempt consumption at all because you have to repay the loan with interest. So you have to invest the money in areas where you can recoup, pay your interest, and even have some for further investment. But we were borrowing money for consumption in this country. That is why a government, if you take the budget, MPP budget, they allocated 600 million for NAPCO, and one factory only allocated 40 million. Okay, you see the difference? Yeah. NAPCO consumption, 600 million. One factory, productive sector or for production, 40 million. Okay. You see mismanagement here. And one was being managed from Dr. Baomia's office. NAPCO was being managed by their so-called economic messiah. So you see the difference here. So, yes, in terms of performance, now from 23%, 23.8%, inflation is now 5.4. So, I mean, how can you say this is luck? If the government has sat aloof or had engaged in those kind of management you experienced in the past eight years, do you think the economy would have been where it is? Now, as you speak, interest rate. Now, the reference rate is about 15%. The reference rate is the basis on which banks determine interest rate. That's lending rate. And the reference rate when MPP was leaving office was 31%. Now, it is 15 point something percent. So now, if you go and take a loan, per the tradition, the way banks do their things, it should be between 18 to 20% of interest rate. So from 35 to 40%, interest rate has come down below 20%. And you say this is luck. It cannot be. Are you getting it? The same with exchange rate. Now, it has not only come down, it has stabilized. Many businessmen can plan. And people can also do business at a cheaper cost. This is not luck. This is management. I have listened to the president. I have listened to the governor. I have listened to Atta. I have had the opportunity to meet him one-on-one. And clearly, people are in charge of managing the economy. Listen to the president anytime. He said, when I met Atta and the governor, plus what Sami Gemfi is also doing, it can't be luck. Whoever brought the idea of gold board should be awarded at the end of this government's tenure. Maybe Star of Volta or something like that. No, you see, we had cocoa board, but it never occurred to anybody that if you have cocoa board, you can have gold board. It never occurred to us. Check when cocoa board came into being, and the number of years it took us to know that you could have something called gold board. That will help us to be able to stop this smuggling and also raking in the needed forex. We always depend on the cocoa for forex. When gold, are you getting the point I'm making? And I'm saying that whoever brought that idea deserves a special reward. We need to award that person. It's a fantastic idea. Unless you don't understand economics or you don't want to accept the fact or the reality. So for me, where we come from, United Party. You know, when we started, when this government won, the first thing we did, our leader presented our GTP to the president. That you can glean from our GTP. Yes, so
I recall it.
yeah. So, Mr. President, take it and glean from it. And I'm telling you, if you read the 24-hour economy paper and you juxtapose it with our GTP, you can see that indeed the president said this paper, he even used the word, we will steal from it. He jokingly said, we will steal from it. And indeed, you can see that is how we build a nation. It is our position that this government must succeed. Last time I said it on one of the television stations, and the host said, but if you say that it means it means you want the government to continue again, or you are saying like MPP or any other party should not come. I say yes. If the government succeeds and you want to come to power, you need to present a superior alternative. Because if the government fails, why should Ghanaians suffer? Because when a government fails, Ghanaians suffer. So why should Ghanaians suffer before another political party come to power? Why don't you have such a way that Ghanaians will be enjoying? Then they will have opportunity to decide who should lead them next. And the one with superior policy alternative should be the one to be voted for. So we don't have to suffer to change government. We can enjoy and be happy to change government also. And that is our position. That when the time comes, our candidate will present
a superior alternative.
And Ghanaians will compare with what other political parties are presented. And on the basis of that, decide who should lead the country. That should be, the people should be the ultimate beneficiaries of our democracy, not any political party. That is why. So I have, this morning I was listening to you and the people were interviewing, and we asked them to grade, the performance of the government. I was laughing because on Friday on TV3, last Friday. I was asked the same question. I gave the government 9/10 on economy. So when they said, all of them said 9/10, I was laughing. As if I was asking whether they listened to me. But the point is that on the economy, consistent 9/10.
9/10.
9/10. But we still have a long way to go.
Okay.
Stabilization is what we need.
Okay.
Or what we needed last year.
Okay.
What we need to do now is to put our foot on the pedal of stabilization.
Okay.
And also try to accelerate in terms of production and job creation.
Okay.
So we have suggested and have said it that let's create a regime, a special purpose vehicle of low cost of production.
Okay.
Let's not allow our private sector to depend on the normal banking sector and the normal way of doing business.
Okay.
Else they won't survive.
Okay.
The competition out there is so serious. If our neighboring countries are offering interest rate of single digits, 5%, 6%, 7%, and even with the performance, we have moved from 40% to 80%, we are still not competitive. So if we can consciously create that regime and be selective, let's have some businesses that are into large-scale export, large-scale import substitution, and some growing businesses, like businesses that are growing. If we can support them, special purpose vehicle to put funds together to give them interest rate of 5% with government guarantee. Speak to the banks. For these companies, give them interest rate of 5%. It can be done. It is Brazil. If you go to Brazil, they did it. India did it. That's how they supported their private sector. So that we can increase our export competitively. Because whatever you're producing in Ghana, it is being produced from all over the world. So if you go to the market and yours is low quality, high price, and someone from South Africa or Botswana is coming with low price, high quality because of cost of production in their country, you can't be competitive. So that's the way forward now is to create a regime of low cost of production. The only way we can expand this economy is through the private sector. Okay. And so consciously, our position is that let's give the private sector the kind of support that will make them competitive. Okay. That should be the panacea to the problems we have in this country. Low cost of production, low cost of doing business. How do we do it intentionally? And it can be done. I presented a paper on the 24-hour economy. Okay. Personally, I wrote a letter to a friend, sent it to Mr. Guzitano, and he responded. I suggested how it should be done. Okay. For a 24-hour economy, let's not move because of the noise of MPP. Okay. It's the best thing that could happen to this country if you do it well. Okay. Unless you have not read the paper. I have read it, and I'm telling you, it could be the game changer of our economy in terms of private sector expansion, job creation, and all that, revenue generation, export, forex, generation. If you read the document, I have suggested, and I want to say it here, let's use 16 years to do it properly.
16 years.
Yes, and the
People
reason
are already shouting that they haven't seen anything.
Yes, I'm coming. Some things can be done. Okay. I mean, you can do some things, and I know things are being done. I mean, if you go here, they are doing 24-hour. My suggestion is that we have 16 regions. Let's use 4 years for each 4 years for 4 regions. Let's start from regions that are infrastructure ready and that have a certain number of factories already. Okay. So I suggested Ashanti, Greater Accra, Western, and I think the Eastern region. Okay. First 4, because in terms of infrastructure, these regions are up there a bit. In terms of factories, if you go to these regions, you see some factories. Yeah. Let's do proper structure the 24-hour economy in these first 4 years, 4 regions. Okay. Now, when you have succeeded with the first 4 regions, you get good data and experience for the next 4. Okay. And at the same time you are doing the first 4, you are preparing for the next 4. Okay. So you go to if you go to the exams room, I give you a good question. You do the cheap ones first, the easy ones before you go to the difficult ones. Yeah. So then you go to the next 4, maybe central, northern, other regions. I have them, but you do them also. Then you prepare. So in 16 years, you would have established 24-hour economy.
Okay.
Every corner of this country would have experienced
the 24-hour
economy. So that is why I'm saying that the MPP want to make noise about it. In response to the noise making, you may not get it right.
Okay.
It's not NDC policy, it's national policy. If I read the document, it should be a blueprint, a national policy blueprint for this country.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be. And if you do it, the subsequent government would have to follow. Because if you don't do it, if let's say you've done 4 regions, and let's say a new government has come, you have to do the next 4. If you don't do the next 4, the next will come after you. The other regions will come after you.
Okay.
So we have a long way to go as a nation. And let's thank God for the change of government.
Okay.
Oh, it is important we had this change. No. Ghana would have been a mess, total mess, if we had not had the change. I mean, can you imagine all these corruption cases? How would you have known? All these corruption cases going on. And with the reckless expenditure going on, Kenofrata in charge, who was going to be their next finance minister? Anta, who is saying in Parliament that this government is not borrowing. He said this government is. Look at the mentality of somebody who was a finance minister. He said he's accusing this government of not borrowing. Are you getting the argument I'm making?
Yeah.
So the mentality of borrowing, because it's only when you borrow that they're able to steal. No. Let's say it as it is. Don, I know you are laughing, but let's say it as it is. The reason why they were borrowing, you have a country where anytime you borrowed, our finance minister benefited through Data Bank, his company, and we sat aloof. And sometimes I blame NDC MPs as well in Parliament and MPP MPs who approved Kenofrata to be finance minister. When you know the man had history, the Obotan issue, the Senate and all that. If you read the report, he was supposed to be prosecuted. The recommendation in the report, the Obotan deal, was that because of the things he had done, the man needed to be prosecuted. All those information were available. Yet they passed this man to become finance minister. The result is what we have. After destroying our economy, after doing all the things, he has run away.
I see. And of course, Don. Because interestingly, when you listen to the governor speak, the finance minister speak, they talk about the global climate and how that fits into what we do nationally. So if the climate is good, would you not say you are lucky?
Well, I heard some of the things that were shared on my way here in some of the interviews. But you see, when it comes to matters of the economy, we have to be very critical. I always say that figures don't lie.
Okay.
And it's not like English that you can twist words and all that. And when you have a reputation to protect, you don't just come and talk about figures as doing politics or doing partisan politics. So permit me, I will be brutally frank.
Okay.
And that is what we need. I don't believe in luck.
You don't believe in luck at all?
No. For me, in my dictionary, there is nothing called luck. There is nothing like that.
You don't believe that you can get lucky?
No, you don't. You don't. And I'll tell this story very. Give me some few minutes. I'll tell you this story. 2 brothers. They are all fisher folks. They go and they use bow and they use arrows to fish. So they are able to fish 2 fishes a day, at most, and that fits the family. It was enough. But one of the brothers decided that he's going to shelve the 2 fishes. He's going to save them they will not eat all. They will just eat half of one,
Okay.
so that he would develop a new orientation and invest in carving a boat.
Okay.
The other brother continued fishing 2 fishes every day, enough for the family,
Mhm.
right? Now, the one who took on the pain
Mhm.
of just consuming half
Mhm.
of one fish
Mhm.
and saving the rest for the other days and getting more time to work on a boat was able to move further and then fish more,
Mhm.
that he could sell whatever he fished for and make more money,
Mhm.
right? Until the other brother started relying on him.
Okay.
Is that luck?
No, that's planning.
Exactly.
And management.
Yes.
Yes. End of story. I mean, there is nothing called luck, especially when it comes to money,
Mm.
trade, what have you. There is nothing called luck. Now, if you do not have a system that will benefit from the increased pricing of cocoa and gold, then the same thing could have happened, but you wouldn't get this benefit you are enjoying from the increased price of gold per ounce,
Okay.
which in the few months ago was trading around 2,200, now around 4,000.
Okay.
So that benefit came up because of what you have put in place. What you are enjoying today is based on what you put in place
Yesterday.
before the environment got to where it is
Okay.
for you to benefit. And we are lucky if you say that by magic, the economic uncertainties in the world, right, came up abruptly. I mean, it was not premised on anything. It came up just like that. No, it just did not come up like that. We saw the signs. We knew how it was going. We saw the disruptions. We saw how Russia, Ukraine was going. We saw all these things. Now, for somebody who is reading the market, say, look, people are going to rush for gold. If you monitor the gold rallies and all that, then you will realize that, look, this is coming. How do I take utmost advantage of it? That cannot be called luck. Physical consolidation cannot be called luck. If I decide not to spend recklessly, it's about managing my finances well. If I decide that I'm not going to use my revenue or lock up my revenue in projects that are basically, useless, then you cannot say that it is luck. Right? If I decide on the monetary front that I'm going to monitor how market sentiments are and adjust my rate to suit same, then you cannot say that it is luck.
There's no element of luck for you.
I don't even have it in my dictionary. you know.
Okay.
I mean, and this is a language we have to take out of the Ghanaian and African dictionary. That
He's lucky.
lucky now. Nyame bebua. Yes, God is there. God helps us, or He gives us the strength to wake up every morning. But hey, guy, you have to think for yourself. You know, so let's shelve this issue of luck, and let's rather spend time looking at what was done.
Okay. So for you, how did we get here? Because, like you said, we all knew what was inherited. In fact, there was someone there. Was it a ride hailing? The driver who just picked me up and told me that, as for him, he wasn't expecting that we'll get a cheaper dollar, fuel prices will go down. What he was expecting was that they'll catch them. That was what he wanted in the first year. They'll catch them. So that was his whole attention. But now he's enjoying some and seeing a lot more work being done. How did we get here, Nii, for you?
Well, let me actually put this thing in proper perspective. We do not still have a reduced dollar.
Okay.
And the reason is that we have a similar situation when the MPP came into power 2017.
Okay.
The country was already under an IMF program.
Okay.
I think they left off around 4.35 in terms of dollar. Right. By 2019, it is around 5.4 dollar rate. And somebody claimed I have arrested the dollar.
Who's that somebody?
Some of them needs to be forgotten.
You're talking about the man of ideas.
Please, let us not go there. Let us not go there. Some of us were pushing this gold issue way back. Go and check my interview with TV3.
Okay.
I think it was with Bella Monde also. I pushed so much on this thing, so he couldn't be the
what
person
we be giving to Don,
right? Talking about. Now, the issue here is that, so I would want to compare the period under which the MPP was in office with IMF on their backs and compare that same period with what we have.
Okay.
And then we can properly compare things well. I mean, they became more reckless from 2019 after the program.
Okay.
We are still in the program.
Okay.
Possibility of probably extending a little or not extending, we will clearly know very soon. Now, the issue is that they manage a depreciation of the CD rate from 4.2 to 5.4. And they claim they have slowed the rate of depreciation of the CD and then had to clap for themselves. Now, we inherited a certain dollar rate, which was a higher rate. We have actually managed an appreciation of the CD. So that trajectory is different from what they did. And that is a big plus for this government. But is it the case that we are returning to 5.4? Or we are saying that we are good with 10.47 and what have you. So this are the main issues. I do not want to compare those, different periods. I want to compare like periods. And in that case, we've done well. Now, they took inflation from, I think, 19.2 in 2016. And then by 2019, when they were about finishing the program, it was around 7.5.
Okay.
I think we took it from 20 something, almost 30.
10.8.
Yeah. And then now it is 5.4.
Okay.
So again, you could clearly see what has happened, right? Borrowing rates, the interest rates, we all knew what it was in 2017, and now we know what it is. It's around the MPR rate is around 18. Treasury bill rate is going for 10. This did not happen under them. Now the I think by the lowest they came to was around 14.5. We are now around 10 point something. Now this is to indicate clearly that government says that I don't need your money.
Okay.
If you have something else to do with your money, you can go out there and invest your money and earn more than I'm going to offer you. Because if the MPR rate is 18 and 91 days Treasury bills is offering you 10, then it means that look somewhere else and invest your money. If you have a higher appetite than I'm offering you. And that is redirecting money into the economy. So it is not only based on what government is spending or prepared to spend, let's say, under the big push or whatever. It is also redirecting resources to probably production in the agri sector and what have you, and which is also very good. I mean, the first time we are seeing such drastic appetite reverse by government and all that. So, in the nutshell, when you look at the economy comparatively with what the NPP managed under an IMF program and what we have managed under IMF program, we have done very well. I will not give 9.
Okay. You will not give 9?
Yes, I will not give 9. The reason why I will not give 9 is that a lot of the things are based on a very narrow base of the economy.
Okay.
Cocoa gold. So, yes, we've used these resources very well. We've been physically disciplined. Monetarily, we have been very responsible. But what we need doing now is to use the gains made today to broaden the base of this economy. That we are yet to see. I like what my brother said about the 24-hour thing, and I have my own view on the 24-hour and all that. I have my own views on that. And maybe later on we can talk about that. But this is the thing. If prices should crash, what's the sensitivity analysis? What have we done in terms of prices crashing in these two commodities that has actually made us so much?
If prices of these two commodities
crash, where would we be? You know, we had 4,000. Assuming it is reduced to 2,200 thereabout, how is it going to look like? You know, and that is where I will be looking.
So whether the managers of the economy are prepared for
shock absorbers.
Exactly. Yes, you have made the gains now, things looks good and all that. But you need to quickly turn around and make sure that you broaden the base for which we are running on. And for me, I have not seen much in there. With IMF, I will give this government, in terms of the economy, 60%. Without
60%.
IMF,
so it's a 6/10 for you.
Without IMF, it's 55%.
Okay.
I'm taking the effect of IMF out and saying that it is 55% solely for this government. Yes, it is a pass mark, but we need to do more. I have said that if we can maintain this economic environment for at least 5 good years, look, we would have done ourselves so much good going forward. Because you know what this allows us is that okay, let me digress a bit so that I can situate it well. You know, when the NPP came in 2017, they had created an impression that some of the taxes are nuisance.
Yes.
And took them out.
Yes.
And they brought more nuisance taxes. Luxurious car tax and blah, blah. They brought all that back. The cascading VAT and all that. Something that I fought throughout because I couldn't understand how we could manage VAT in that manner, making it so complex, tax and all that. You know, so we have done similar. but more responsibly.
Okay.
Now, what we have done is to actually remove some taxes.
Mhm.
At the same time, put money back into the businessman's hands,
Mhm.
which is going to increase volumes.
Okay.
We have managed the rates better because most of the contracts that we have entered in, right, prior to these governments coming into power, were with higher rates. Most companies ended up paying lower rates, and therefore there is a lot of exchange gains on the books of companies that were dealing with foreign exchanges. That is going to inure to the government's benefit in terms of tax revenues.
Okay.
Then on top of that, you have given more to government, more to businesses.
Okay.
The more you have given, it is not free. They will come up with more margins,
Mhm.
more business, and there will be more tax revenues to
Okay.
it. So it is not just like free.
Okay.
Now, this has been done in a very secured atmosphere.
Okay.
It wasn't done recklessly
Mhm.
for just political gains. It was well calculated. And for the first time, something I've always suggested, that when you give back to the economy, quantify it. Quantify what you did. And under the fifth IMF review,
Mhm.
I saw the quantification,
Okay.
and the net effect of it is positive.
Okay.
I didn't see that under the MPP. So that we can, at the end of the day, measure ourselves to the forecast and say that, okay, our forecast was credible or it wasn't credible. Next time we will go this way or go that way. We have to develop our sense of financial management. It has not been done in the correct atmosphere. I kind of see that is gradually changing. There is more awareness.
You see that with the managers of the economy now?
Exactly. And that is what I am happy about. But yet still, there is one person called IMF in there.
Okay.
And that is why I will not so much give it up all and say, 9/10. I think 60% with IMF is good.
Okay.
Effect of IMF taken out is only 5%,
Okay.
leaving us with 55%. Okay. There is more to do.
I'll come back, and I'll come back to that. Let me take a break. When I come back, we'll tend to, and I'll ask you, of course, what do you expect from them? You're giving them 9/10. In fact, if we get 9/10 in a test, you can essentially go and sleep.
That is what we don't want.
No, from my point of view, specifically in respect of the economy,
that is for the first year.
For the first year,
okay,
because that is what they set out to do.
Okay,
to stabilize the economy.
Okay, so then I'll come. I'll ask because he started on what he expects. I'll let him conclude on that. Then I'll come to you. What you expect from the managers of the economy in 2026, because everybody says that 2026 will be quite a tricky year for them because you don't have the IMF on your back at some point anymore. And what would you do? Would you spend more like the MPP has been asking? Spend. You are not spending. Would you do? How would they handle all that pressure? Or come back and deal with that. Some short adverts, then we'll be back.
Done.
Gold 90.5.
Well, I'll come back to my system when it comes to adverts because it seems it has frozen on me.
Online, on your mobile, and on your smart speaker. This is the Power Station.
Ghana's Gold. Radio Gold.
Well, we'll resolve that. We'll resolve that shortly. But Don, then continue on the point we're about to make in terms of what next. What should we be looking forward to?
I have mentioned already, broaden the base,
Okay.
entrench the system of management in terms of our finances, and then take a lot of the things out of the government's hands. I mean, if you carefully watch what is going on, it is the commitment of a president, a finance minister, and then the governor of the BOG that is getting us results.
Okay.
Now, you are not going to have these situations all the time.
Okay.
You would have a finance minister who is so domineering, like Ken Ofori is.
Yeah.
Then how do you check him?
Okay.
So some of the things we are doing today should be entrenched in law, and that is for the lawyers to look at.
How?
How, for instance, in terms of the monitoring system by the BOG and the MPR rate, I think there should be a lot more of signposts to direct them as to what to do.
Okay.
If you watch carefully what happened between 2021 and 2022, somebody at the BOG was sleeping.
Certainly.
Okay.
Was sleeping.
Okay.
And it took the person from February to August to realize that I needed to act. And by that time, things are just gone bonkers.
Okay.
And that is what we need. That, look, the monetary side should be more responsive.
Okay.
And there should be more accounting-based monitoring of what is going on in the system.
Okay.
And his hands should be freed, even if by law.
Okay.
Not to follow what the finance minister wants.
Okay.
Now, we must also look at this financing issue by BOG.
Okay.
In terms of government. Yes, you can be a responsible government, so you will not really depend on BOG financing you. But we have seen an irresponsible government just quite recent,
Okay.
So what are we doing about it? How do we take this power out of the physical side and make it a sacrosanct thing for the monetary side? We need to look at all this. It is not just about us being there, being responsible, but we need to make sure that some of these pillars are firmly on the ground so that even if, like the ex-president said, Rollins said, that even if you have the devil sitting there, he will not have the opportunity to do some of the things that were done in the past. Then the other thing I think we need to do is to relook at our Greek sector. I'm looking for the day we will stop the import of tomatoes, maize, and what have you.
Okay.
And rather look forward to exporting these commodities.
Okay.
And just like we have dealt with gold so well, we can do same with palm. We can do same with rubber and other natural resources available to us. We can do that. And when the agri sector is performing above what we expect, then I will be talking about 9%.
Yeah.
But for now, I think that is what we need. These things are what we need to check very well. And mind you, we need a doctrine when it comes to borrowing in this country.
A borrowing doctrine.
Yes. We need a doctrine in terms of what we borrow, how we borrow, from who we borrowed, and at what level should borrowing be ceased.
Okay.
We cannot leave it again in the hands of just anybody.
Okay.
Someone who found an advantage in terms of borrowing. And you see, I don't blame Ken Ofori too much. He got in and realized that we were doing a lot of Eurobonds. and there were book runners, right, who were doing it, and realized that these were the fees they were doing. So there is money in there. I have a similar company.
Okay.
Right? And so why won't I take a bit of the pie? And then it became sweeter. And then he said, why don't I take all the pie? It is human. It is appetite. Why do we do business? It's to make money. It's to make profit.
Okay.
You know, and some of these things should tell us that we should just not leave things to chance.
Okay. So create structures.
Create structures.
You want a doctrine.
There must be a clear doctrine in terms of borrowing.
Okay.
The ceiling in terms of borrowing in Ghana, for me, it doesn't work for us.
Okay.
You can't say that you are borrowing based on your GDP, when your GDP itself is financed by borrowing.
I see. Now I can take that break. Then when I come back, I'll turn to Ebo for his thoughts.
Borrowing on the back of borrowing.
Nyato mi do to anyato ya Chicago club ro ye ya dogo amanchinya goglo nyato fi to twi manyo apasa manyo apasa do badu yata mi do to.
Fellow Ghanaians are citizens of Omofia. Radio Gold is back. And so is Kokosa reporting. And so it's on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. And it is the same objective, no nonsense commentary on pertinent religious, social, political, economic, sports issues. So be my guest and bring your advertisements too, even if they send the tax report to come out due to suddenly. Because you will get your results. My name is Efo Daoud Bidan Kosivi Kokosa Achka Akofusi, and I invite you to make a date. It's on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. See you ever.
Our repa, wine benya. Our repa, more don so. Our repa, so muye. Our repa, jumedie for fry, de bro. Ewo Radio Gold, 90.5 FM.
Unima wari, edian kra ni awari. Den ena tro kronkro anase Bible no, echire ana eka edefa wari. Obani bema bi atena emfinhia bebre. Awomma, nanso obia enim na busuafo. Eno ne awari no ana.
Enye obia ne nya kwanya ekọ ne sofo, ana ne sofo maame enim ekoka na warisem edechire no. Na dwumadie wi ebema wakwanya ama watwere krata ana se watu yankra ama de wokom awaware ana se ifie asetena mu no wodi abreye ye wompanifo akukudama omadwene abobe na omoba dwumadie so a ohaw bia wode bebreye wa ha no ye beyi ano ede ama wo
Our programming shining so ye de bro kwesi da we eni kwesi da biara nonso sharp ni atena se
Shia Mrs. Grace Adumako etu ahene ana Mama Grace ene na pamfo
awarepa
wine benya
awarepa
modern so
awarepa
so muye,
which is the variable we use to assess our resilience as a country. Our international reserves have risen to above $13.8 billion, and this is historic. Nana, I joined the bank since 1992.
Finance, monetary person, that should be your thinking.
Okay.
You should be more prudent than being futuristic.
Okay.
You know, and sometimes if you have a company to value, it is not the assets based on the context in which you are valuing the company. Sometimes it's not the present assets or the capabilities that you value. You value the future prospects of that company.
Okay.
Right? And that is to say that the future profits that if we put in this investment, the company can make in future, right, are basically what we are buying.
Okay.
And that should create the value.
Okay.
And that is the mindset he's kind of talking about. Now let's be careful. We are not there yet. We have a narrow base. This is anchored on external factors. As much as we have, done well in terms of fiscal consolidation and all that, these are more external than internal. prices can crash. You never know. Tomorrow, the things you call luck or bad luck can happen. Although I don't believe in them. but if it happened, what preparations have you laid down? You know, this 6 months cover you are having can be wiped out in no time, depending on the world economic environment. It can be wiped out anytime. And therefore, this is not when you go out and brag like somebody I know. That we are doing so well, we are this, we are that, we have arrested this, we have that. You see, a proper and a true finance economist or whatever don't speak futuristic and don't speak away from prudence.
Okay. You must always speak.
Exactly.
The language of prudence.
Exactly. You must always maintain that skeptical mind.
Now, I'm back to you. What do you expect from the managers of the economy this year? Because you seem to be happy what they did in the first year. This is the second year. This is when they said things stand to decline. People start to act and do things they are not supposed to do. What do you expect from them?
So, our position, which I will be expressed, is very simple. And I've already said it, that what we expect to consolidate the gains, we shouldn't remove our foot from that pedal of consolidating the gains you've made, because you can only build on the gains, so you don't lose it. So which means, as you said in relation to what the governor was saying, we need to be very cautious in the way we expend, in the way we do things. You shouldn't be taken away by the fact that we've done well, and so it's in my end, and therefore you remove your foot from the pedal, and things begin to go haywire. We shouldn't do that. Let's consolidate the gains. Then at the same time, let's see how we can expand the base of the economy, as Don said. You see, listen to all the people speaking, including the president. We are going to do value addition, we are going to do diversification and all that. The fundamental question here is, at what cost? Value addition at what cost? Diversification at what cost? Because we are not going to add value. You see, in economics, we say goods are produced in anticipation of demand. You produce to be consumed. And so consumers are rational human beings. And because of our income levels, we tend to gravitate towards low prices than quality. Therefore, if you are producing, you need to take into consideration your pricing and quality. And these two are affected by cost of production. So in all our conversation, the most important thing we need to address as a nation is the issue of cost of production, which I've said earlier. And I just, for emphasis sake, I want to repeat it. Let's look at the issue of cost of production. That's the only way you can broaden the base of your economy. Only the private sector can broaden your base of economy. And so the issue of cost of production, I want to reiterate, should be the most important thing to discuss moving forward. So on the basis of that, we have this position, and I've expressed this a couple of times. You see, the Bank of Ghana has one of the monetary tools they use to control money supply and inflation and all that. It's what is called the cash reserve ratio, or reserve requirements, where banks are expected to keep a certain percentage of their total deposit with central bank. Okay. So it's in tiers. Some 20%, some 15%, some 10%. You have to keep it with the central bank. That money sits idle. It doesn't earn any interest for the bank. It doesn't earn any interest for the Bank of Ghana. It's just to control money supply. Our suggestion is that, why don't we, as a nation, learn from what India and Brazil did with respect to this particular tool? Those who are keeping 20% with the central bank, why don't make them now keep 10%, the central bank, and use the 10% to finance specific production or productive activities.
Okay.
Or production activities.
Who dictates what is it? Would that be in an agreement between them?
The Bank of Ghana and the commercial banks. So you keep 20%. We are requiring you to keep 10%, and this 10% must be given to specific companies at interest rate of 5%.
Okay.
Which means the banks will now make 5%. It is not for consumption. You see, the fear is inflation.
Okay.
Because the money is kept for fear of inflation.
Okay.
So if the money goes back into the system for consumption, then it will create inflation.
Okay.
But if the money is being channeled into productive or production, specific companies, that's what I'm saying, that you should be very selective. So give them 5% interest rate. That money, the 10%, that would have sat at Bank of Ghana without doing anything. Now let's make it work. We give you, say now you have a company, you are into exports.
Okay.
You have the potential to grow, expand, and export more to earn more foreign exchange. So we are giving you interest rate of 5% for production, for exports. Dawn has import substitution company that can produce goods to compete with what goods that are coming from China.
Okay.
In terms of quality and pricing. So I said, Dawn, we are giving you interest rate of 5% for production. India has done it successfully. Brazil has done it successfully. That is the only way we can now put money into the system without causing necessarily creating inflation, because it's for production, not for consumption.
Okay.
Then we can be competitive. Our producers can be competitive. Because let me tell you this, Ghanaians exporters are struggling. Even before this month's Trump's tariff, they were struggling to compete outside because of cost of production. Don said he's looking forward to see a day where Ghana will not import tomatoes and maize and all that. Do you know why we are still producing, even though we have glut, we've produced more in Ghana and goods are in abundance, but people are still importing from outside because it's cheaper to import maize than to buy from Ghanaian. Why? Because of cost of production. The Ghanaian is not ready to reduce the price to a point that can be competitive. Do you get the point I'm making?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, that let's think outside the box as a nation. As for IMF and those things, is IMF condition, it can only help you it will contract your economy. It will not expand your economy.
Okay.
We have to think outside the box and see how we can make the issue of cost of doing business and cost of production so cheap in this country. That's the only way out. In fact, the teeming unemployment of the youth we have in this country, the only way to solve the problem is to create jobs, isn't it?
Yeah.
The only way to create jobs is for private sector to grow, isn't it? And the only way the private sector will grow is through low cost of production, isn't it? Because now, subsidies, if you go to America, they give subsidies to their farmers and even some of their companies just to be competitive. Let's be conscious. IMF will not help you to grow. As for that one, it's really, once we begin to grow well, IMF is out of business. But they are in business when we are in trouble. So IMF wouldn't want to be out of business because of your success. So they are always trying to make sure that you don't grow the way you should grow. And I'm saying that as a nation, let's begin to think outside the box. You see, those economics and finance we've done in the past, that they don't work. Let's not do the same thing and expect to get different results. Let's begin to do things differently and see how we can support the agri sector. We can support the industry. That's where jobs can be created. And so we are looking forward. This year, we want to see more investment in the agriculture sector. Not just investment. I'm saying at what cost? Okay. So don't forget the cost. Because the cost is what will make you competitive.
Okay.
Electricity, maybe some tax rebate and all that. They will all help you. But the most important one, because if you go to Ivory Coast and you go to Botswana, South Africa, you can check. They are all doing single-digit interest rates. And we now have Africa Continental Free Trade Area. So you can imagine the competition. So if you can survive on low cost of production, you can survive on price and quality.
Even within your own country.
Yeah, your own country. So that is
Thank you. We have to bring this to a close. Don, thank you.
Right.
Yeah. Nii Yarboi Annan.
But just to say one thing, when he mentioned Ivory Coast, Ivory Coast has the same population basically the same population with Ghana, over 30-something million.
Okay.
In 2019, Ivory Coast was importing wheat of 1.5 million metric tons.
Okay.
Right? Today, Ghana is trying to push up to 1 million metric tons. I'm asking, is Ivory Coast consuming everything it is producing, and why is the Ivorians able to produce? Were able to bring in 1.5 million tons in way back 2019, whereas we are now struggling to bring in 1 million. That should tell you something.
Yeah.
You see, it was targeted.
Yeah.
They said, look, what do we do to this sector? Because everybody would consume bread.
Yeah.
So what do we do? And this 24-hour thing and industrialization, it should be more targeted. Somebody should sit down and say, look, this industry, we have or we could have a competitive advantage in there. What can we do to make it big and make sure that we are exporting on a large scale to even Africa? Forget about the rest of the world. It will come naturally. That is where we need to focus.
Nii Yarboi Annan is a financial analyst, member of the NDC, specifically Ododo constituency. Where is your branch?
Lai's house.
And it's nice to see Ebo. Ebo BUCKMAN is also. Ebo, what's your position?
I'm deputy to Solo.
Hey, you are deputizing Solo. You have work to do.
My troublesome brother.
I swear.
So I'm a deputy national.
You've done a fantastic job. In fact, I think on the basis of work in the media alone, UP is only now second to the governing party. Yes, and that's impressive. Because the MPP now, every time they find a way to run away from something or the other. Anyway, BUCKMAN, it's nice to see you.
Nice to be here too.
Yes, that concludes our show. Tomorrow is a holiday. The holiday that I don't understand the holiday. To be very frank, I've never asked for the scrapping of a holiday, but this holiday doesn't make sense. Please, it's useless. Anyway.
I don't think he likes what you're saying.
The holiday does not make sense. This holiday makes sense.
Anyway, holiday.
Up next, DJ Kofi.